let me say a very good morning and thank you for your patience to the President of the Fishermen and Friends of the Sea, President Terrence Beddoe. Thank you very much for taking the time this Sunday morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for calling.
I thank you for being available for us. $1 million is what the Prime Minister said. We're going to help these fishermen who have had their earnings slashed because of the situation that happened in the Gulf, and they have been unable to, meet their obligation and so on. You saw that money coming forward, but you're not happy with it. There are questions coming from your association regarding this $1 million. Tell me about it.
Well, first, it's not a compensation. It's to assist those, as you rightly stated. Now, I have been in contact, or we have been in contact with one group of fishermen, particularly in the Cedros area, and they have done a compilation or computation, and they have found that if this $1 million is given them to assist, each one of them will be receiving something like $83. That is their calculations.
And yes, but how they arrive at that? I mean, how many fishermen are you dividing this $1 million to?
Well, they're not dividing it only the fishermen. They have to divide it with the crew. They have to do with the vendors, the ice makers, the net menders, etc. They are all suffering because of the thing.
Yes, but that figure sounds really alarming when you say you're only getting $80-something. Maybe we need to find out where specifically the Prime Minister is asking that this $1 million be targeted. Who specifically?
Exactly. We haven't found it. He said it will be to assist those people who are suffering as a result of the thing.
So that is primarily why you have a problem, because you're saying the money is inadequate, or is that a combination of inadequate and something else? Yes, I heard coming from you.
It's a combination. It's inadequate. Do we know exactly which areas, what fishermen, how many? Can we do this? What are the criteria for selecting the people who will be receiving this assistance?
Well, I would expect your association, being the Fishermen and Friends of the Sea, and you work in concert with a number of these fishing bodies, would get in touch with the representative and find out specifically why that is. Because I had two things coming out from the Fishermen and Friends of the Sea. One is that the money was inadequate, which you just dealt with, and the other area was the question of why is this money being offered?
Well, it wasn't stated by the Prime Minister himself, but it was alluded to the fact that some group or some company is liable. And that company that the fingers are pointing to is Petrotrin.
But I have not heard I did not hear, and if you did, please alert me. I did not hear what the Prime Minister said. This is to get rid of all the claims made with regard to Petrotrin. As a matter of fact, my interpretation is that it is being done to assist our fishermen in dealing with their situation temporarily, not taking away the right of what is due them. Should Petrotrin be found to be the culprit in this?
Well, I just read for you the first paragraph of an article written by Kim Boudram. And it states, it's not compensation, but fisherfolk in South Trinidad whose livelihoods have suffered as a result of public fear over the safety of local fish are to be financially assisted.
Yes.
And then the Minister of Agriculture, in a post-cabinet news conference, said, liability and compensation will be determined once the independent testing is completed, and he noted fishermen on the Western Peninsula have not been affected.
Right. That is a fact from, I remember my discussion with you. You were on together with Gary Abood with me, and that is what we're saying. So I think he makes it very clear from what you just read. Yes. This is a bridging situation. Exactly. A bridging situation.
Exactly.
So we have no problem here, except for the amount of money.
Nobody, you see, the fishermen have, from the time the fishermen have been, they have had their problems, or the fish are dying, they are looking for something to compensate them because they are financial losses. So the point about it is that when the Prime Minister comes out and give a quantum of $1 million, then they will look to see what is my take on this? How much am I getting?
Well, I think it's going to be important that we wait until we see exactly who and who he's talking about, how many fishermen, and then we can do that division, because I have not heard any details. I was hoping maybe you heard some details, and that's why you found it.
We have not heard anything. What we are saying is that the Minister of Planning has said that they are going to take samples and they're going to send it aboard for independent chemical analysis.
Are you comfortable with that? With that suggestion, with that initiative to take it and send it outside of the country?
No, I'm not. What I'm concerned about is what samples are taking under what considerations, and who is the body who is going to ensure that the right samples are taken. Because you can take a sample and send it aboard and it will come back showing nothing.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's a whole question of where you take the sample, what sample you're looking at, the chain of command, the chain of...
exactly. And that's what I'm saying. And that's what we are saying, Fishermen and Friends of the Sea.
Is the EMA working along with you? Have you had discussions with the EMA on this situation?
We have had long discussions. In fact, we held about a 2 to 3 hour discussion with them only this week.
Uh-huh.
And they are in agreement that the samples that are taken and analyzed by Kariri will be paid for jointly, and the results will be put out jointly.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, but tell me what I am missing here. I could be slow on a Sunday morning. Maybe I am. What am I missing here? Because if there is agreement that we can send it outside, you both had discussions. We say the Prime Minister is giving a bridging situation, an assistance situation, not taking away the rights of fishermen to be compensated if Petrotrin is found culpable in this. All right, that right is not being taken away, and the sample is going to be sent out. What am I misunderstanding? What is the disconnect here? What is the disagreement here?
There's a disagreement by the group in Lebre to start with that says that the fish that are dying were dying prior to 2013 when the fish were found dead. So there may be other things that are in the water that is toxic to the fish.
Mm-hmm. But would proper analysis of the fish, the sample that is taken?
We had done an analysis of the fish. We had it done by Kariri. Mm-hmm. We called a meeting of the various journalists, and we made this public, the findings of Kariri.
Which is the reason that I had you and Mr. Bood on last week, but there is still not consensus on this. Your group, Fishermen and Friends of the Sea, got your results. You put it out. The EMA got their results, put it out. There is disagreement, so it is decided that both we will take the sample will be taken and sent outside,
and sent aboard for analysis, and which the results we will both receive and we will make public.
So would you agree it is wise that we all just hold our horses and wait until these results come in, unless you're telling me that you're in disagreement with where they're sending it to in the discussions you had?
We don't know where it's sent. We don't know what samples are taken. We don't know where it was taken. We don't know when it was taken, and we don't know who took it.
So the meeting that you had with the EMA then, these things should have been answered there, shouldn't they?
It should be answered, but the EMA were not clear as to that. Well, at the time, it wasn't clear that the Minister of Planning was going to take and send it aboard an independent independent analysis.
We will have to wait and see how this moves on. The president of the Fishermen and Friends of the Sea, Terrence Beddoe, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. I am not in the house of accepting any of the results. We've got 2 sets of results inside of here. I'm going to wait and see. I would, however, expect that the reputation, the goodness, and of course, it's your way of life. The Fishermen and Friends of the Sea would get together with the EMA, have a clear understanding as to how we chart this, including your suspicions of the chain of command, so on, the sample and so on, and where it's going, and have that settled. I really hope that is settled very quickly, because we need to find out. We as a nation need to find out what is going on with our fish up in that area.
I would agree with you, but this is not Fishermen and Friends of the Sea. This is a major problem, and this has to be handled by the government. Mm-hmm. But we are seeing certain things, and they are either not attending to it or just keeping it on the wraps.
Gotta keep touching base with you as I have been doing all the time. You and Gary Abood and the folks at the EMA try to keep our hands to all the stakeholders and hope that we come to something on this, all right?
Well, I'm in agreement with that.
I thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for having us.
I thank you for making yourself available. You have a wonderful day, sir.
Same to you.
I thank you. It's currently 9 minutes away from the top of the hour. As the aforementioned, the nation enters 54 years of independence. 54 years is a very long time if you look at it in just years, even though the way this year went, it was really, really very short. However, we are into 54 years. In 54 years, there's a certain maturity that you expect. There's a maturity and there's a realization in your independence when things are bountiful. When things are going nicely, then it's great. When things start going south or a little difficult, folks are inclined to pull back their optimism about their country. But it is not a question of how much you have, it's how well you manage what little you have. It can do a couple of things for you. Teach you to deal with the things that you need and not the things that you want. Teach you to control your want, even though you may be allowed to excess every now and again. But importantly, it teaches a question of self-sufficiency, self-sustainability. And self-sustainability is the area where we have to put our attention right now as tough as things go. I got this song before we get out of here that I need to play from Baron. And you know, it's the original was done by Sniper. It's a good reminder of what the nation has achieved, and you can take it and listen to it and just substitute names where you see necessary, because the nation is moving on all the time. There are new heroes, there are new accomplishments, there are new challenges and new disappointments. But then again, the United States has been around, 200 plus years? Yeah, okay. They still have major problems. Problems happens when you're growing. Anybody growing up understands that. Let's just be proud for where we are.